watching the Sidemen's reality house thing?
I haven't watched anything Sidemen related for a long time.
Well, they're not in it.
Oh.
They just host it. So like 2 of them will come on and host the game. It's like literally like a game show. Like an Outfoot Asylum do Locked In.
Is it just normal people though, or is it like...
No, Chloe Burrows is in there.
What the hell?
Phantom from, what's that? What's it? AMP.
Oh, yeah.
He's in there. Angry Ginger's in there. Specs is in there. It's like a good random group of people. Specs, is so funny. Like, I can never tell if he's being serious or not.
That's like his humour though, isn't it?
Yeah, but like, it's the whole dad thing. Have you heard about that?
No, I've not.
So basically, this guy, he was on... Whose podcast? I think it's Chunks and Phillies. He talks about it before on someone else's, but he was like, yeah, my dad's dead. He's been dead like my whole life.
Oh, and then someone found him on the train.
He said,
yeah, I have.
And then he was like, but I saw my dad on the train.
Yeah.
On the way back from going to identify his body.
I saw that. I saw that on Chunks and Phillies podcast. Like a clip of it on TikTok. Yeah.
He was like, I've never seen my dad, so I identified the body and said he was my dad, and then I saw my dad on the train.
Oh,
and I can't tell if he's being serious or not.
No, he's got a very dry sense of humour.
Yeah.
I see TikToks of him like with his daughter and stuff.
Yeah.
He seems funny.
Him with his kids is funny as well. The one in the dance where she was like, she wanted to go to one dance somewhere, and he was like, "Fine, I have to go with you." And he stood next to her the whole time, and she was just like skanking him out. He's jokes, man. I think he's class. But he's in there as well. And then who else is in there? There was a girl called Leah. I think she's an Australian. She just went viral on TikTok. She gets like 40 million views on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
At a time. She just does makeup.
I don't know who that is.
Me, I've never seen her before.
40 million views?
Crazy, innit?
Jeez. That'll be us soon.
Who else? And then there's another girl from TikTok, a black girl.
Yeah.
She does dances. And then there's that, what's his name? Castillo. You know Castillo?
Not by name.
Yeah, Brev. That's all he says is Brev this, Brev that.
No, I don't know who that is.
He's been on like ZZ Mills and things like that.
No.
And he's like, he likes thick girls. They've got to have this to them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's an icky one. And it's got a girl from Warsaw. What's her name? Manrika. She was on TikTok as well.
I do know who you're... Yeah,
She's in there as well. She's so like, you just know she's from the Midlands. Like, you just know that she's from the Midlands. Yeah. I think, give it a watch. She's only on for a week.
Oh, okay. I might give it a go. I've not been really watching much, like, other than... I'm really watching a lot of films at the minute, just random films, but I might dedicate some time.
Yeah, it's episode a day.
It's just easy viewing, isn't it? So I can just chuck it on, like, while I'm having my lunch break or something.
Yeah, exactly. And they do some tasks, and then, like, Toby will come in with maybe a guest host, and then JJ and Harry or whoever. Yeah. People just come in. They don't have to do anything. Simon was saying on his podcast, or a clip on TikTok, that they're getting like 3 mil per episode that they've dropped because people are just so invested. Like, they premiered the first episode on Sidemen Sunday last week, and then they put the rest of the episodes on more Sidemen. Yeah. And then they're going to put the finale, which is Sunday, back on Sidemen channel.
Jeez, they have honestly got their fingers in all the pies. Yeah. Like, they started out, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not their biggest... That's why I've had a bit of a break. But they started out as just like a group of friends, let's make some YouTube videos. Yeah. And they have managed to, pardon the reference, branch out into so much, like, music industry, boxing, like presenting, like on like mainstream shows and stuff. Like, people that don't watch YouTube would walk down the street and like know who KSI is because of his music and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, and doing stuff like this, like reality TV shows and stuff like that. It's crazy how much opportunity has come from them just making some videos as a group of friends. Yeah.
I think as well, as you get more into it, it gets easier.
100%. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you find a niche, like, oh, okay. We made a drink. Oh, okay. Yeah. We've done this, or an event, like even the charity football matches.
That goes crazy for them as well.
Yeah.
That does so well. I think the thing is, like, I saw this online the other day, and I thought, do you know, it's such a good point. And I was actually talking about it yesterday with my mate, and it was basically saying, like, when it comes to creating content and stuff online, where a lot of people go wrong is they're trying to create what they think people want to see. Yeah. So, like, they'll start out and, like, I know we say, like, guys, let us know what you want to see, but we would never post anything that's, like, not us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the way that people end up growing is when they just start being their authentic selves, posting what they enjoy. And obviously at the beginning it might be slow, but eventually a community of people will come that are invested in you, and that's what Sidemen did. They just started out, they weren't like trying hard, they were just posting videos of them just pissing about being boys.
Yeah.
And then a group of people were like, oh, I like that kind of stuff. And the same way, like certain people that just post doing their makeup, there are always going to be people that watch people doing their makeup. There's someone out there that will enjoy watching whatever people do. So
and they're consistent as well.
They are.
Like for me, I know that on a Sunday I'm an hour from work and I know that I will get to watch
there'll be a new video.
Yeah, like something to watch on TV. Do you know what I mean? Like you just know it's going to be there.
And I'm sure that at the beginning they might not have been like that, but over time, like...
Well, Sidemen Sunday, it came about after the whole beef thing when they were like, we'll reunite as a group.
Yeah.
And we have to post every Sunday, and then they came up with their like card system, and that's when all their systems
because everyone has to come up with ideas rather than it just being Josh running like the whole thing.
yeah, exactly. So which is good. Which is funny because I remember them talking about it on, it was either a Reacts or Sidemen Among Us, and JJ was like, we should just do our own version of like Locked In.
Yeah.
Because like it'll give us, first of all, a break from having to post such like...
And come up with... Because they do big videos now. It's not just like a little like eating 5,000 calories in one day.
Yeah.
Like now it's like big scale like...
Yeah. But they said the one thing they find it hard to do is balance between the videos, because obviously people come to watch like the big holidays.
Yeah.
But then people are like, oh, we miss like the
really
pub golfs and like just the simple things.
That's when I used to really be invested in them, when it was just like the little silly thing. And it must be hard with them like now, like with having like, they're in serious relationships, some of them, and like
getting married,
have kids. So I mean, it's the same with any job.
Yeah.
But it requires a lot of time away from home. Like when they're like, right, who can travel the furthest in one day, and like you're ending up in like the Maldives, and it's like, what do you know what I mean? Like, how do you even plan for that?
Yeah, I feel like that's good when you like it's only yourself that you're looking about.
Yeah.
Rather than like, for example, with Ethan, how he planned his video in, they had to travel down south.
Yeah.
And then he obviously had the massive asthma attack, didn't he? And then Faith had to drive 5 hours because obviously all the boys are obviously gone.
Yeah.
And then he was left with like whoever works behind the scenes or whatever. But yeah, it must be tough. It must be really tough. But they've been doing it for years. Like they have their system on lock.
They do. And it is just the same with any job. Anyone that works full time has to find a way to balance that with their personal lives. Yeah. Whether it's full time in an office, full time in a restaurant, or full time content creating. Like you figure it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting. But yeah, definitely watch Inside.
I'll have to give it a go.
It would be good. But yeah, we didn't say hello either.
We didn't say hello.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to the podcast. You're here with your favourite co-hosts, Renee and
Princess.
Let's go.
It's me.
Yeah,
and
let's
Renee.
go. Let's go.
It's us.
Yeah. So here we are. Today we have a topic that we both had to
have experienced.
That's the word.
That's the one. I was thinking, where are you going with this?
I'm struggling to find the words.
We've both experienced it, and we've experienced it in very different ways. So I think it's interesting for us to give our perspectives on it.
Yeah, and see what people think as well.
Yeah, and that is living with a partner.
Living with your partner, guys. How many of you are doing that right now?
Because we are.
Yeah.
The ups and downs, trials and tribulations, the good times, the sad times. You're going to hear about all of it today.
Yeah, so let's get straight into it. How are you finding living with your partner and his family?
Yeah,
essentially.
So that's obviously where my situation differs to yours. Is that I live with James, and I live in his family home with his mom and his brother. And I've lived there now for a year. At the end of this month, it will be a year, which is crazy. It's gone so fast.
So how did you come to the decision? Like, did you think of it? Did he think of it? Was it like a mutual thing? Like, how did that process come about?
I think we definitely both had thought about it before we even vocalised it.
Yeah.
So obviously I was at uni in Liverpool, and uni was coming to an end, and I think I had quite unrealistic expectations of what life after uni was going to be like. So I kind of, before I even met James and before I went to uni, I was very much like, when I go to uni, whatever city I go to uni in, I'll probably end up staying there after uni, or like just staying up north in general. But I don't think I'd really thought about the fact that I would need money to do that. Like, I wouldn't just be able to finish uni and move into a nice bougie flat in the middle of Liverpool. But in my head, that's what I was going to do.
Well, to be honest, times were a little bit different.
Yeah, pre-COVID, things weren't as expensive.
Yeah, and you could probably like kind of, okay, if I did this over the next few years, this could
save
work.
a bit of money here. I could live with a friend. I could, Yeah.
But then
it got harder and harder.
Yeah,
COVID and I started to realise. Because he lives.
Yeah. Rishi was on a mad one.
Yeah, it's all...
Like...
times were crazy. So yeah, I got towards the end of uni. And obviously me and James had done long distance for the whole time I was at uni. And that and because of COVID, that amplified the long distance. And because of us meeting just before COVID, we'd never actually had a period in our relationship where we'd been able to see each other regularly.
Yeah.
The whole time I was at uni, we'd see each other every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on plans. He'd come to Liverpool, I'd come back to the Midlands, and I kind of knew I didn't want to do that anymore. But we also, James is like very, very good with his money, so he's like, yeah, like saving so that we can move out. And I started to realise that if I like stayed up north in Liverpool, Manchester, wherever that was, and rented, I wouldn't be able to really save. I could have gone full time at Nando's and I would have had enough money to pay my bills, pay my rent, pay my bills. That's it.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't even have had much more money to even like do things like socialising, let alone saving money as well. So that reality started to kick in. So I was like, right. And I didn't really want to move back in with my mom, not for any reason other than I just didn't really want to. Like, get on with her brilliantly. We've got an amazing relationship. But I was very much just like, that part of
do you think
my
that's
life is done.
Due to it being wolves?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think that probably was. And I think I knew that I either wanted to live with James or live with my friends.
Yeah.
I think I kind of just got that in my head. Maybe I was being a bit stubborn about it. If worse comes to worse, if like living with James hadn't been an option, I probably would have moved back in with my mum.
Yeah.
In terms of saving money. But in my head, I didn't need to. So I didn't really contemplate that much like on when I was weighing options up. That wasn't even
So do you think that would have changed, say, like would you have moved in with mates if you had that option available to you?
I think
when
so,
you finished uni?
Yeah, definitely. It was me and the girls spoke about it loads. Like, I'm sure Eve would say right now, it's like, if it wasn't for James, we'd be living together. And it's like, it's funny and it could be true, but it's not about like, if I didn't have a boyfriend, I'd be doing all this stuff. It's just in terms of what my priorities are in life at the minute, living with my boyfriend was a priority, like wanting to spend that time together. And also such an amazing opportunity to save. And it was actually him that said, like, that's what I mean. I think we both thought about it before we vocalised it, because he'd thought about it. His mom had asked, like, well, you know, what's Peaches doing when uni finishes? What's the crack? And she said, like, she's more than welcome to move in here.
Fair.
So he said to me, like, I spoke to mom and she said, like, you...
So calm.
And I was like, at first I was a bit like, I don't know, like, that's not... I always thought if me and James lived together, we'd move out and rent, or do you know what I mean? Like, I knew we'd be able to buy straight away. So I think the thought of living with someone else's family in someone else's home, I was a bit like,
yeah.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And a year later and time's flown, so it can't have been that bad.
Yeah. Would you move out with any of your mates now? Or are you just waiting now to speak to living with James?
I was speaking to Ellie about this yesterday. I was saying, like, I think now it would be weird. Like, it would be not weird as in, like, people would think it's weird, because I don't care what people think, but, like, I feel like it would feel weird. Like, me and James have been together for over 4 years. We're saving to buy a house. If I was to move out and start renting with one of my mates now, A, it would push back our savings because I would be paying rent every month. And B, it would just feel like I love living with James, so now it would feel weird not to. Like, I feel like if I was going to do it for me personally, it would have had to have been before I'd lived with James.
But what about in terms of, like, having your own space?
Like, to have the opportunity to have my own space?
Yeah, because, like, be able to... Obviously, you're living with his family.
Yeah.
You might not get, like, time alone when you want it, because obviously there's people around all the time, or you might want to, I don't know, chef up and do, like, a dinner and get all your mates
just do
around.
your own thing.
Yeah.
No, definitely it is something I've thought about. Like, I won't lie, it is. And, like, I am... a chronic overthinker, so I have thought about most things, like every eventuality, every situation, and I loved living with the girls, and I do think, it'd be so fun to live with them again, but I think I would miss living with James. Like, it's just like when you write a pros and cons list, like for me right now, the pros outweigh the cons, so I'm not against it. And, like, if the cons, if it's flipped so that there were more pros to living with my mates, like, James wouldn't have, I don't think he'd be like, you're leaving me. Like, our relationship would still be sound.
I was going to say, I think he'd be probably around more often than not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It wouldn't be like we never see each other. It would just be a slightly different setup. But I think the way things work right now and how much money I am being able to save, I feel like it would be stupid.
Because that's like the situation I'm thinking about now. Like, obviously, I'm coming to the end of my tenancy, uni's finished.
Yeah.
And obviously, the decision is either go home and have no job, essentially, or stay here but have nowhere to live. And then you just start thinking, should I get a place? Should I get a few of my mates and then just get a place? And I can carry on doing my own thing, won't have to worry about anything at home and stuff like that. But at the same time, if I go home, I don't have to worry about bills, for instance, and stuff like that. And it's just like, how do you choose what you want to do? Because I know me, like, I know that there's certain things I need, and I need space to be able to do that, especially with what we're doing here. So,
well, exactly. But that's where the list of priorities comes into play, because I feel like in everything in life, like I was speaking to someone yesterday about like me wanting to do acting and stuff. Like, you just have to think about what your personal priorities are, because there'll be someone out there that would be like, well, my priorities right now are to get a mortgage, have kids, or my priorities are to focus on my career. My priorities are to be with my partner. Like, whatever is important to you. If space is your main thing, then that has to be at the top of your list.
Yeah.
For me, I used to think it wasn't. I do still miss my own space to a degree, but like there are other things that just beat it. Yeah. So it's just one of them. But that's how we ended up living together.
Fair enough.
And that's how it's been.
And how has it been actually living together? Like, you're around each other 24/7.
I know.
24/7. How's like date nights? Do you schedule that now? Do you just, oh, hey babe, should we go out for dinner?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's in general, like the living together thing, spending 24 hours thing, actually, and I know people will be like, no way has it been that good all the time, because like, but it actually has been lovely. Like, I've had no real issues with it. We do enjoy being around each other, and we have our own stuff that we do. Do you know what I mean? We're not like on top of each other 24/7. We have our own hobbies. So we might be like existing in the same space, but like he's on his PlayStation and I'm like doing some podcast stuff, or I'm reading a book, or I'm crocheting or whatever. And like he's at the gym, or I'm going for a run. So like we see each other a lot, and that's lovely, but we do still do our own things. We're not like, well, we live together, so we must do everything together now. Yeah. So that separation there is good. What was the second thing that you said?
Are you finding time to like actually spend
like
some
date
time?
nights? So that's one thing that we had a conversation about it like 2 months ago, and we were basically saying that we don't, mainly because we're trying to save money, but also I was becoming aware that we were doing less things together because we were spending so much time together, because we became so comfortable with the fact that like, oh, well, we've seen each other today, or we've seen each other every day this week, but that's not the same as actually doing something together. Because like I just said about existing in the same space, that's not the same as like, do you know what, why don't we get out the house, go for a walk, why don't we go for a meal, go bowling? Like, it doesn't have to be some fancy date night, but even just like sit down and watch a film together, like actually spending that time together. So we did kind of have a chat about that a couple of months ago, and we said like each month one of us will be in charge of organising a date night, and then in between that we'll still do things. Like last weekend I was like, oh, do you fancy going for a picnic? We went for a picnic. Do you know what I mean? Like, we still do spontaneous things.
Picnic, you know, because sun's been out on that.
We get like one day of sun and I'm like, get me outside. I need to touch grass. Like, I need to be out there. But yeah, we're both quite good at suggesting things. But definitely, I think there was a period of time at the beginning where, because we just got so excited about being in the same space, that I think we did forget that we could like go outside and and do things. And I think it is hard to, I think you do lose sight of that a bit when you start living together. I
think the pressure as well, like, it's not seem like you've got like much pressure on you, but at the same time you did do long distance for so long that like living together might be just refreshing.
I was scared that it was going to be the opposite though. I was scared that maybe the reason why our relationship worked so well for the first 3 years is because we did long distance, and because we only saw each other. Do you know what I mean? Because you get like, distance makes the heart grow fonder. Like, we were so excited to see each other. So I thought, oh my gosh, what if we move in together? And we're like, I actually don't even like you. But it's been very natural and very easy. And don't get me wrong, there are days where we get on each other's tits, but like the same way that anyone would in any relationship or in any friendship or whatever. Like, and I get on with his family really well. So the same way that like my mum might annoy me a bit one day, like his mum might, I don't know, actually I feel so bad to say about Al when she's not annoying. But you know what I mean? Like, those little niggles are just a little, or when like you come downstairs in a mood, like I don't feel like I need to present the best version of myself all the time like you do when you first start visiting someone's family home, and you're like, please, can I have a glass of water?
So you've just like slipped right in.
Yeah.
Like you fit the mold.
Which is, I feel very fortunate because I know that wouldn't be the case for everyone.
Yeah.
But like, I do feel very fortunate that it's just been very easy and natural.
I envy you.
Oh, get over it.
What do you mean, man?
Let's talk about yours and let's go back. So your story is very different to mine in terms of how it came about, but I'll let you explain how you ended up living with your partner.
Well, basically, I saw painting across the courtyard at our old accommodation, our first accommodation, and we're like, yeah, cool, let's be friends, let's be friends. Became friends. Within a week, became more than friends. And we were just like kind of head over heels for each other. But it just meant, because we were living in, basically, there's like 4 buildings. Mm-hmm. I was in C block and she was in A block. And she was the building across from me.
Yeah.
So it was calm. So there was no need for us to do what we're doing. But what we did is that she basically came and lived at mine. Basically.
Typical.
We were just wanting to be around each other all the time. We were just like wrapped up, like it was in our own world.
And do you think that was because you had your own space? Like, had you have met and say you lived like 2 streets away from each other, but you were both in your family homes, do you think it would have been like that? Or do you think it's because you had your own space?
I think it's just because we had our own space, because it was just easy. But at the same time, like, we lived in the same building essentially. Like, it was easy for us just to see each other all the time. So like, it wasn't an issue for us. Mm-hmm. But it just meant that we was on top of each other very quick.
Would you have considered that beginning? If someone had said to you back then, do you live with your girlfriend? Would you have said yeah, or would you have said no? She lives in the block over there.
I'd just be like, she lives in the same place as I live.
Because technically you were like living together. You wouldn't spend a night apart.
Yeah, basically. She would stay at mine. Like, she'll get her stuff from hers and she'd come and stay at mine. Okay, maybe like 1 or 2 times I'd go and stay at hers. But mainly we would just stay at mine just because I don't know why.
That's just how it
just felt. It's just how it felt. Yeah, essentially. Which is weird because her place was a lot bigger than mine. Mm-hmm. So, but I think I don't know. I'm very much
like a host.
Yeah, I like to be in my own space. I'd rather it be at mine than at someone else's because I just feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
like I always feel like a guest in someone's place.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter who.
I get that.
Yeah. So at mine, I'd rather everyone like, okay, come over. It's calm. Like, chill. Like, you sleep over there if you want to sleep. Like, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's calm. But yeah, so it was just very intense from the very beginning. Like, this was happening before we was even like together.
Like, before you would even consider it an official relationship, you were living together. We
were living together.
Oh my gosh.
So typical lesbians. But yeah, so that was like that. But it was very intense for me because of the financial situations.
Okay.
So like, obviously I was working.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to secure a job before I moved to Leicester. Like, I went and did the interview and stuff. Like, I'm moving to Leicester on this day so I can start work on this day. Whereas she wasn't working. So I felt like a lot of the financial pressure was on me. And I wasn't really in a position to do that because I could barely like hold myself. I was driving at times. So I was still paying my car finance and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, to look after me, another person, and then bills on top of that.
It's a lot. It was rough, do. And that's not what uni's about.
Yeah, and the pressure was getting to me as well. So.
And how do you think that affected your relationship then?
It probably didn't help.
Yeah.
Like, first year was very honeymoony, and then we're basically living together now. Second year.
So why don't we actually live together?
Because we can get a cheaper place.
Yeah.
Finances will be easier, and we'll be living together. So fine. So we got a 2-bed and moved out into a flat, which is when it started to go fucking downhill. Like, it just, I'm very specific about the way I need things. Like, I'm very much, I don't know if it's the potential ADHD in me or what, but I need things to be done a certain way. Like, I don't like the things to be messy, or like if things are messy, like every Sunday, like how my mom used to drill into me, you get up and you need to start cleaning.
Sunday reset.
Sunday I would get up and start hoovering and washing up and cleaning, and it felt like I was doing a lot of the work. I was like, not only am I working, but I'm doing the work at home as well. It felt like a lot, and I was kind of tapping out of the relationship, you know what I mean? Like, I was not.
So you're focusing so much on that living together side of things and the pressures from that.
And how to keep it as like a family home rather than just enjoying the time and the space I had with my missus. So it was just like, it was really hard. I would say I struggled a lot.
Yeah.
I probably struggled a lot more than she does because she's a lot more relaxed in that sense, where she can be like, oh, baby, let's just sit down and watch a movie or like whatever. I'm just stubborn in it. So like,
you are stubborn, correct. I'm glad that you said it.
Yeah, but I know I'm stubborn. I try, like,
She's
now,
self-aware at least.
Like, I try not to be as bad.
No, but it's just who you are. It's your character. It's not a bad thing. It's not like you're stubborn in it. You're willing to listen to other people and stuff. It's just when you've lived a certain way your whole life, you can't just like let go of all that.
Yeah, exactly. So
in terms of that and those strains, like obviously you said you moved in together really fast. How do you think that did affect the relationship? Because like you didn't, like obviously you were getting to know each other once you already lived together, but like in terms of like going on dates and like things like that, like
it wasn't happening.
No.
It wasn't happening often. Mostly because of like the financial pressures.
Yeah.
I was like, I like going on dates with my missus, but I can't pay for every single date.
Yeah.
And like it costs a lot, especially when it's two people.
Yeah.
You're essentially doing it for you eating, you drinking, or you out, you're doing activity and stuff. She's very good at coming up with something to do where you don't have to do like spend money.
That's good. That's really
That's
good.
because she's a creative person.
Yes,
like
she
will
is.
get the clay out and do some pottery. She'll paint a picture.
We love a craft.
Yeah, like she's arts and crafts. A little bit like you, you know.
This is why we all get on so well.
Yeah. So like we wasn't really like going out much. Like if we did do it, we did do it properly. Like we would go out and have some dinner and stuff. But we wasn't really like going on dates and stuff, and that was probably like was mashing up the relationship even more. To the point where like we had to basically take a break from it all. Took a break from it. Kind of was like, look, it's not like we don't love each other. It's just that we need some time apart so we can figure out ourselves and how to live by ourselves in order to bring that together as a unison, which has worked out better than anyone would think it would have. I mean, we don't live together now. We live next door to each other, but we're a lot more calm. We go out now and we...
It's like you were doing the bits that you do at the beginning of a relationship, but like deep into your already established relationship.
Yeah, we just went too fast.
Yeah.
Went too fast. Like it's even going back to like first year, like we didn't really like go out and socialise with people. Like I could tell you, I've only got one friend from the beginning of uni that I've stayed friends with. Like most of my friends now from uni I've met third year. Imagine being in Leicester third year, and this is where like my friendships have spawned.
It is mad, but that is how it can be. And I think when you find someone, whether it's a partner or a friend, but when you find someone early on at uni and you get on with them really well, you do kind of just be like, okay, well, I found my person now. Like I'm sound, and that's what. And when it's in a relationship sense, it's even more intense because you really don't need. You don't feel like you need anyone else.
Yeah. And I think as well, me being older, the older one in the relationship, I was at a different point to where she might have thought the relationship would have been at.
Yeah.
For like her generation, let's just say. So like, she's a lot more chill about things in a relationship, whereas I'm like, well, we need to do this because if we want to do this in 2 years, then we need to be doing this.
Like you were thinking ahead down the line.
Whereas she's just kind of living in the moment.
Which is a great way to be as well. And I feel like meeting more in the middle has been helpful. It's not about like you were in the right, she was in the wrong, or she was in the right, you were in the wrong. It was just about understanding each other.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it was hard at first, but I think once you can find your rhythm with each other, then it's bound to work out. Like, I know now that she's my person. We're probably gonna get married, have kids, whatever. So
we love.
It's just finding our balance. But obviously, I'm moving back.
I know. So you're gonna go from living next door to each other, also basically.
Yeah.
You spend still a lot of time together.
Yeah.
But it's like you've got your separate rooms. Do you know what I mean? Separate space. How do you think it will be? How do you think it would be for your relationship going from basically living together for 3 years to...
I think it'll be a good thing because I think we both need to figure out what's going to happen next. And I think it'll be... Obviously, she'll be in Leicester for the next 2 years. So it'll be good for her to as well to kind of find out what she wants from the relationship as well, and like how she's doing without me being here. Whereas obviously I have more things that I'm focused on now. So she's just got to focus on uni and getting through the next 2 years.
I was going to say, that is a big thing to focus on. Like uni is going to consume her life for the next 2 years.
Yeah, which means I don't think she'll notice that I'm gone as much. Like she wouldn't have to miss me as much as she probably would if she had like nothing going on. You know what I'm saying?
No, of course.
So, but yeah, I think we'll be fine. We don't really. We're pretty good. Like she FaceTimes me all the time, so it's not like it's not an issue for me, and it's not like I can't just come and visit here because it's an hour away. Like,
well, exactly, and it's just another. It's like the next stage of the relationship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's exciting, but I don't want to go home.
I know, but it's not that bad.
I don't know. I mean, what would you, if you was in my situation, where you've got people who are like, oh, I'll happily move in with you, or there's a group of people, or even move in with my missus again. Move in with missus and her mates, and like there's more people there.
Yeah.
Like, because my thing is like if I do stay here, I would probably say, oh, let's do a group thing.
Yeah.
Get a place, cheaper rent, whatever. Got my own space, can focus on this fully. No one like in my ear, or I need this room, or blah blah blah. Or would you go home, save? Because to me, right now, like getting a mortgage is not.
That's
I'm not asked about it. Yeah, like
all,
I'm not trying to settle down right now. I'm trying to build something.
Yeah.
So, like I don't care where I live as long as I'm able to do the things that I want to do. But at the same time, money runs the world. And
money does. Money makes the world go round.
You get sucked into the simulation and.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough. Like, and obviously, I can give my perspective on it, but ultimately, we do have different priorities. And I also think you do have to. So obviously, like, you want to focus on this, and the saving situation doesn't need to be just in terms of like getting a mortgage, but like in terms of saving, like you have to. It's so boring, but you will have to literally sit down and figure out the nitty gritty of what your finances will be like, because it might not even just be to the extent of, oh, I'll be able to put £100 one side if I live at my mum's, but it might be a case of like, right, if I stay in Leicester, will I be able to afford to like go on holiday? Yeah. Will I be able to afford to have that weekend away, and like things that you want to do with the podcast, like more adventurous things, like will you be able to afford to do those things? See, that's what you need to weigh up.
That's what I'm scared about going home.
Really?
Because I'm not going to have a job. I'm still going to have to pay board.
You will be finding a job very quickly though.
Quickly. I've been looking since the start of third year.
We're manifesting.
I've been looking and nothing's looking like, I'm not hopeful right now because I'm at a point now where I've been like rejected so much where like I need a break from looking at people telling me why I'm not good enough to work for them.
It's brutal out there.
Like, yeah, like who is it? Like, how can you judge someone based off a phone call? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you haven't even met me in person. You don't even know what I look like essentially. So like being judged like that, like I was like, I need to stop, especially after the last one.
Yes.
The last one, I was just like, so it's like that. You had me preparing all this shit for me not to be even getting to say my piece.
Yeah.
Like you literally you judged me based off who I am and where I'm from and what uni I went to.
You've not got the job.
Yeah, like I didn't even get like the task that you had to do.
Yeah.
In the interview, like it's weird to me. So
yeah,
that's why
it's brutal.
That's what I'm not like right now.
You don't need to be like, you're thinking like, say it depends what your focuses want to be. You don't need to be finding a job that's like a grad job or like something. Well, you could just get a job. You could get a job in hospitality when you get home. You could. Do you know what I mean?
That's my thing. Like I know that I've got a job here, and I know that I will have the hours here because I'm very good at what I do, and my boss is the type of person to give to those who's doing the job for him rather than spending money on someone who's not going to do the job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I know I'm secure in that sense. I know I'm secure in that sense when I'm here, but when I'm home, I'm secure in the sense of that I've got a roof over my head. It's like they're very much on par with each other.
It's tough. It's not an easy decision to make, and I think there's a lot of pressure that comes, and a lot of big decisions that come around the end of uni because you've not had to think about anything for 3 years other than uni. But I'm going to sit down with you and make you write a list, and we're going to do this.
Okay. We can do that off cam.
Don't worry, guys. You don't have to watch and listen to that. But no, I definitely think that.
So,
But yeah,
living with a partner, it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about me and how I am and things that I need to improve.
I feel like one thing that I've noticed about you, like with the ups and downs, and like you said, like you guys took a little bit of a step back.
Yeah.
The way you talked about it was so like emotionally mature in the sense that you were fully aware that the way you were behaving wasn't how you wanted to be. Like, you were aware that because you weren't happy in things like the housing or like the financial side of things, that it was making you not the kind of person you wanted to be in a relationship. And I think you learnt loads about yourself. And I'm not going to lie, I was skeptical about the whole break thing, because I'm one of those people that's like, I don't agree with breaks. You're either together or you're not. Blah, 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 whatever. I still stand by that. However, you guys, it has worked very well for you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Taking that time apart, coming back together, like, you guys are better than ever. So hats off to you, because I didn't think it could be done.
Yeah. So. I mean, it was difficult, but you know what? Like, it just made us better people for it. Like, it just... Yeah. It kind of... I mean, I don't know about her, but it told me that, like, that I'm not trying to... I don't want to see anyone else, as much as I joke about and flirt and blah, blah, blah. Like,
it's just a front, though. Like, it's a joke.
Yeah. Like, it just is. Like, at the end of the day, I'm with her. So, like, that's just it. That's that done.
Look at that. Honestly. No, I think living with your partner is an amazing thing to do. But it can also be very difficult. And I've been very fortunate so far that my experience has been great. But there have... Like, it's not all sunshines, roses and lollipops. Like, there have been times where I'm like, God, I just want some space. Like, especially like we said about living in someone else's family home, is that I have moved in. So, like, for instance, when you guys moved into your second year house, that house had nothing in it, and you guys brought your stuff and you set up camp and you, do you know what I mean? Whereas I have moved into an already lived in space. Like, my partner has had to, like, clear some space in the drawers for me, clear some space in the wardrobe for me. Like, his bedroom is already lived in. His house is already lived in. They've made space for me to fit into that, which is amazing, and I'm so extremely grateful. But that is still not the same as, like, I still say, like, that's his bedroom. That's not our bedroom. That's his bedroom.
It is his bedroom.
Exactly. And, like, that's his house. That's not my house. And I don't mean that in, like, a nasty way. Like, that's not my house. That's not my home. It will never be. I don't mean it like that. But I just mean, like, it's very different when we move out, whether we rent, whether we get a mortgage, or when we move out into a fresh space and build that together, that will be our space. Yeah. It is very different. And I'm sure a lot of people can probably relate to that. So, like, there are times when I just think, like, oh, it would be nice to just, like, how I would want to decorate a space, or when you might see something in a shop that you want to buy, and then I'm like, oh, I actually have nowhere to put that because it's not my home to decorate. Do you know what I mean? So there are moments of that, but I think there were points where I would let that get me down a bit, but now I just look at it and I'm like, yeah, but that's what I've got to come. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm only 26 years old. Like, we are babies. So I've got that to come, and, like, when we do move out and get our own place and we can decide on decor together and we can decide on storage together and stuff that sounds so boring, but, like, will be nice because we'll be creating our space. So I think I just have kind of flipped the way I think about it, because there was a period of time where I was like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, being a bit of a brat about it.
I mean, if you want to rent a place, I'm down. Like,
I know you're down.
Yeah. You could be like,
life is expensive.
Have a content house. That would be sick.
Well, like, starting, like, when those TikTokers all, like, move into a house. Oh my God.
We would get a bunch of people, but us two definitely, yeah, it would be fun. See. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the future has to hold. I might get a mansion, but, like, you and James, just come.
I might win the lottery one of these days. I've been putting on the Euro Millions every week. One day, it's going to be mine.
Yeah, but yeah, interesting, man. It'd be good to hear some of your guys' thoughts as well. Like, are you living with your partners? Are you thinking about living with your partners? Like, what has made you come to that decision?
Yeah, like, definitely.
Because it is a difficult one. I know a few of my friends have moved out who have got partners, but they've not moved in with each other. Yeah. Which is, like, an interesting perspective.
Definitely. I think it depends on where you're at in your relationship and what you both want, for me, because, like, I think if I'd have been with James for, like, a year and then I'd finished uni, I don't think I'd have moved in with him.
Yeah. It's been what?
Because it's been like 4.5 years. Yeah. So, like, I feel like the point we're at in our relationship is that we are thinking about the next steps. Yeah. But I feel like if we were a bit earlier in our relationship, then I don't think I would have even considered moving in with him. And for some people, it's not about length of time. It's about how you feel. Like, some people feel like that after a year. Some people feel like that after a few weeks. Do you know what I mean?
And it's circumstantial as well.
It's like, so circumstantial. Whereas I felt like now we're at that point. But it is interesting to hear other people's perspective, because I know a lot of people out there that would be like, you're only 26, why are you living with your boyfriend? You're in your 20s, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I think you got to do what's best for you.
100%.
So what makes you happy?
Do what makes you happy, guys.
Life is too short to be
short.
Hung up on what other people think and trying to make other people happy.
Facts.
You do you.
You do you. B. Yeah, cool. So yeah, guys, that's been the episode. If you're on YouTube and you're watching us, please subscribe. I know half of you are watching and not subscribed. Like, I just don't understand why you can't just press the button. But anyway,
it's not that hard.
It really isn't that hard. But do a solid for us and just do that anyway. Drop us a like. Drop some comments. I know some people out there have been dropping some interesting comments, which really made me laugh. So good luck to you.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. We like it. We like the engagement. So yeah. Spotify, if you're listening to us on Spotify, give us a 5 stars, please. That would be really, really appreciated by us. So yeah, where can they find us, Bryn?
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at branchingoutpodcast_. And you can also drop us an email with thoughts, feelings, feedback. If you want to do any of that stuff, then our email is branchingout2023@outlook.com.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks guys.
We really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it was a nice little episode, wasn't it?
It was cute.
Cute. So yeah. Peace.